प्रभासन्यो भयेव च पतिता अवनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे। ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयन्ति। Hare Krishna. So let us all pray and attempt that we be able to read and hear Krishna Katha. And the second chapter, and the chapter is speaking about the prayers of the demigods. How all the demigods led by Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, they came inside the prison house of Kamsa, where Mother Devaki and Vasudeva were, to offer their obeisances, their respects. And what is the outstanding prayer that Lord Brahma begins with? He says, Satyavatam. Satyavatam Satyaparam Tri Satyam Satasya Yonim Nipitam Cha Satyam. They are jubilant. Why? Because the Supreme Lord has fulfilled their promise of personally appearing. So we will begin from the 29th verse. Pradeep Prabhu.
Probably 29th is complete from 30th.
29th is done. 29th is to be done.
We'll done, Prabhu.
Anyway, we will do. Okay. 29th verse. So the demigods continue to pray. This is before the appearance of the Lord. Vibharshi Rupani Abhodha Atmaha Shemaya Lokasya Characharasya Sattvopapanani Sukhavanini Satam Abhadrani Muhukhalana. O Lord, you are always in full knowledge, and to bring all good fortune to all living entities, you appear in different incarnations. Sattvo Upapanani Sukha Ahavan. When you appear in these incarnations, you appear in different incarnations. This 29th verse says, O Lord, you are always in full knowledge, and to bring all good fortune to all living entities, you appear in different incarnations, all of them transcendental to the material creation. When you appear in these incarnations, you are pleasing to the pious and religious devotees, but for the non-devotees, you are the annihilator. Sukha Avani. Satam. Satam means the devotees. Satam Prasanga. Satam Ninda. Satam is for devotees. So what they experience is Sukha. Sukha Avani. And who is experiencing this Sukha? The demigods. That is why they are praying. They are expressing their heart. Their heart is filled with joy because Krishna has fulfilled their promise. So whenever he appears, you are pleasing to the pious and religious devotees. He is Abhadrani. He dissolves all the inauspiciousness or he annihilates. And also, for the non-devotees, you are the annihilator. This verse explains why the Supreme Personality of Godhead appeared in an incarnation again and again. The incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead all functions differently, but their main purpose is paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam. Bhagavad Gita 4.8. To protect the devotees and annihilate the miscreants. Yet, even though the dushkritis or miscreants are annihilated, this is ultimately good for them. त्वया अम्बुजाक्ष अखिल सत्वधामनि समाधीनावशेत चेतसैके त्वत्पादपोतेन महत्कृतेन कुर्वन्ति गोवत्स पदं भवाम्बुधिं. Very beautiful verse. त्वयि अम्बुज अक्ष अखिल सत्वधामनि. Ambuj means the lotus and Aksha means the ice. O lotus oil Lord, by concentrating one's meditation where on your lotus feet, which are the reservoir of all existence, and by accepting this lotus feet as the boat. What is the word used for boat? It is potena. Tvat potena. Tvat means yours, pad means your lotus feet, and potena means like the boat. One who has taken shelter of the lotus feet, which is just like the boat. By which to cross the ocean of nations, one follows in the footsteps of Mahat Kritena, great saints, sages, and devotees. By this simple process, one can cross the oceans of nations as easily as one steps over the footprints of a cow. There is a very famous verse in Srimad Bhagavatam. It is almost the same. Brahmaji's prayer. Anyone remembers? Very famous verse. One of the very famous prayers of Brahmaji. There, where is your attention? You know this verse.
पदम पदम ना विपदम ना तेषु
समाश्रिता ये पाद पल्लव प्लवा महत् पदम पुण्यो यशो. The same word. Bhavam buddhir vas padam padam yad vikudam. The same verse is there. So this is the same realization which Brahmaji is having, this all the demigods are having. The true mission in life is to cross the ocean of nations of repeated birth and death. Those in the darkness of ignorance, however, do not know this mission. Instead of being carried out by the waves of material nature, Prakriti Kriya Mahanani Guna Karmani Sarvasha, they are undergoing the tribulations of Mrityu Samsar Vartmani. Krishna says, Aprapya Mam Nivartante Mrityu Samsar Vartmani. If one fails to achieve Krishna, what he gets by default? He gets this Mrityu Sansar. And Vartmani means to come again and again repeatedly. Repeated birth and death. But a person who has achieved knowledge by the association of devotees. It's very important. See Prabhupada's revolutionary statement. He says the person who has achieved knowledge not by independent study or individual study, by the association of devotees. One who has achieved knowledge by the association of devotees follows the Mahajanas, Mahat Kritena. Such a person always concentrates his mind upon the lotus feet of the Lord and executes one or more of the 9 varieties of devotional service. Shavanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padaseva. Simply by this process, one can cross the insurmountable ocean of nations. Devotional service is so powerful in any form. Shri Vishnu Shravane Parikshit Avabhavet Vaya Sakhi Kirtane Bhakti Rasam. So, Simply by the process, one can cross the insurmountable ocean of nations. And what is that process? The process of devotional service. And in devotional service, what is the process? Sri Vishnu Shravani. Process of hearing. Hearing about whom? The Supreme Personality of Godhead. And who perfected? What is the praman? What is the evidence? Parikshit Bhavet. Parikshit attained the highest perfection. And Vaya Sakhi Kirtane. One has to glorify. And who is the glorificator? Is Shukdev Goswami. He is the son of Vyasadeva, so his name is Vaiyasaki. Vaiyasaki Kirtane. The glorification is done by Srila Shukdev Goswami or Vaiyasaki. According to this word, Maharaj Parikshit became liberated by fully concentrating his mind on hearing the Lord's holy name, attributes, and pastimes. Similarly, Sukdev Goswami simply glorified the Lord. And by speaking on the subject matters of Krishna that constitute the entire Srimad Bhagavatam, he too was liberated. One may be liberated simply by Sakya, friendly behavior with the Lord. Such is the power of devotional service. As we learn from the examples set by the Lord's many pure devotees, Swambhu Narada Shambhu, Kumaro Kapilo Manu, Prahalado Janako Bhishmo, Balirvaya Sakirvayam. So these are the 12 Mahadans. Swambhu. Who is Swambhu? The self-born, that is Lord Brahma. Second personality is Narada Rishi, Narada. And Shambhu is Lord Shiva. Kumara are the 4 Kumara, the son of Kumars. Kapilo is Kapildev, the son of Mother Devamurti. Manu the 14 Manus. Prahlad Maharaj, Janak Maharaj, Bhishma Dev, Maharaj Bali, and Vaiyasaki is Sukadev Goswami. And Vayam, who is Vayam? One is left. Who is Vayam? Out of the 12 Mahajan, I have 11. I have named 11. Who is Vayam? Yeah, I know Sonika knows, but what about others? Who is speaking this verse? Yes, there, Shilpro.
प्रभु जी यमराज जी
Yamraj. Vayam is Yamraj.
Adios,
So,
amigo.
the 12
Powering up.
Mahajan. And who is the incarnation of Yamraj, contemporary to Krishna? Yamraj appears in Krishna Lila as. Yes, Pranav?
Bidur Prabhuji.
Huh?
Bidur.
Yes,
Vidur.
Vidurji. Mahatma Vidur. Mahatma Vidur. Very good. Thank you. We have to follow in the footsteps of such devotees, for by this one easy process. For by this one easy process, one can cross the great ocean of nations, just as one can cross a small hole created by the hoof of a calf. Here the Lord is described as Ambudakshaha, or lotus eye. By seeing the eyes of the Lord, which are compared to the lotus flowers, one becomes so satisfied that one does not want to turn his eyes to anything else. There is one very nice example of one who saw the eyes of the Lord. He then lost taste with everything else which seemed to be beautiful in this world. Anyone remembers? Very, very famous pastime of one of the acharyas, Ambujaksha. We have gone to that place. It happened in Srirangam. I've given you a very big clue. Sripad Ramanuja prayed. What is the name of that personality? We did the katha. God. Dhanurdas. Dhanurdas, who was so much captivated with his wife that he was shamelessly looking at his wife constantly, even in the presence of Sripad Ramanuja. And Ramanuja called him. He sent his disciple and called him that why you are staring so much at that woman. And Dhanurdas said that because her eyes are so beautiful that I cannot take away my eyes away from her eyes. And then Ramanujacharya said that if I show you the eyes which are more beautiful than the eyes of your wife, then he said, then I cannot remove my eyes from the eyes of that personality. And Ramanujacharya invited him next day to come and take darshan of Lord Vishnu. Of Sri Ranganath. And Ramanujacharya prayed to Lord Vishnu, to Ranganath ji, that you please manifest your beauty in the front of this conditioned soul. And as Dhanurdas saw the transcendental beauty, क्लास ले रहा हूँ बाद में बात करूंगा, आपका काम हो जाएगा, ठीक है? हो जाएगा ना, ठीक है. And Dhanurdas became such a devotee of Sripad Ramanujacharya that Ramanujacharya taught many lessons to his sannyasi followers from Dhanurdas. Why? Because he saw the Ambudakshara. He was able to see and appreciate the transcendental beauty of Lord Ranganath. So the demigods are praying. Prabhupada is mentioning here that the word Ambudakshara. The Lord is described here as Ambudakshara or lotus-eyed. By seeing the eyes of the Lord, which is compared to the lotus flower, one becomes so satisfied that he does not want to turn his eyes to anything else. Simply by seeing the transcendental form of the Lord, the devotee is that once fully absorbed in the Lord in his heart. This absorption is called samadhi. Dhyana avastita tadgatena manaso pashyanti yam yogina. A yogi is fully absorbed in thought of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For one who has no other business than to think of the Lord always within the heart, it is also said, the verse has come, Samashita ye pad pallava plava mahat padam punyo yasho murare bhavam bodher vatsa padam param padam 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 yad vibedam natesham. For one who has accepted the boat of the lotus feet of the eyes, who is the shelter of the cosmic manifestation and is famous as Murari, the enemy of the demon Mura. The ocean of the material world is like the water contained in the calf's milk. His goal is Parampadam or Vaikuntha, the place where there are no material miseries, nor the place where there is danger at every step. This is all from the prayers of Brahmaji, 10:14-58. This process is recommended here by authorities like Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, Swambhu Narada Shukru. And therefore we must take to this process in order to transcend nations. This is very easy, but we must follow in the footsteps of great personalities and then success will be possible. In regard to the word Mahatkritena, it is also significant that the process shown by great devotees is not exclusive for them, but is also for others. If things are made easy, this affords facility for the person who has made them easy and also for others who follow the same principles. The process recommended in this verse for crossing the ocean of nations is easy, not only for the devotees, but also for the common persons who follow the devotees. Mahajana Yekvikas. So one is a transcendental personality, and the process that the transcendental personality gives or leaves behind. If anyone follows, although he is not transcendental, but he comes to the transcendental platform immediately. So here it is very much emphasized here in this purport what Srila Prabhupada is speaking, what the demigods are praying, that one who follows in the footsteps of great saintly sages and devotees, by this simple process one can cross the oceans of nations very easily. Swayam samutterya samutsarandyushman bhavarnavam bhimam abhadra sauhadraha bhavat padam Guruho navamatrate nidayata sada anugraha bhavan. O Lord, who resemble the shining sun, you are always ready to fulfill the desire of your devotees. You are known as the desire tree. Vansha kalpitarubhyasa. When acharyas completely take shelter under your lotus feet in order to cross the fierce ocean of nations, they leave behind on earth the method by which they can cross. This is very, very important. Please pay attention. When acharyas completely take shelter under your lotus feet in order to cross the fierce ocean of nations, they leave behind on earth the method by which they cross. And because you are very merciful to your devotees, you accept methods to help them. So whoever follows the process, whoever follows in the footstep of what the acharyas have given, he can also cross over, he can also achieve the same destination, the same position, what the acharyas have given. This statement reveals how the merciful acharyas and the merciful Supreme Personality of Godhead together help the serious devotee who wants to return home back to Godhead. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his teachings to Sri Rupa Goswami said, Brahmanda Brahmite Kauna Bhagyavan Jiva Guru Krishna Prasade Pae Bhakti Lata Bija. One can achieve the seed of Bhakti Lata, the devotional service, by the mercy of Guru and the duty of the Guru is to find the means according to the time, the circumstances and the candidate by which one can be induced to render devotional service. With Krishna access from a candidate who wants to be successful in going back home, back to Godhead. After wandering throughout the universe, a fortunate person within this material world seeks shelter of such a guru or an acharya. After wandering throughout the universe, a fortunate person within this material world seeks shelter of such a guru or an acharya who trains the devotee in the suitable way to render service according to the circumstance, so that the Supreme Personality of Godhead will accept the service. Very, very profound, deep words. So service is not possible without being trained, without being guided, and without being given. Here Prabhupada is saying that trains the devotee, Acharya trains the devotee in the suitable way to render service according to circumstance, time, place, and circumstance, so that the personality of Godhead will accept the service. This makes it easier for the candidate to reach the ultimate destination. The Acharya's duty, therefore, is to find the means by which devotees may render service. According to reference from Shastra, Rupa Goswami, for example, in order to help subsequent devotees, publish such devotional books as Bhakti Rasamrita. Thus, it is the duty of Acharya to publish books that will help future candidates take up the method of service. and become eligible to return home back to Godhead. By the mercy of the Lord in our Krishna consciousness movement, this same path is being prescribed and followed. Thus, the devotees have been advised to refrain from four sinful activities: illicit sex, intoxication, meat eating, and gambling, and to chant 16 rounds a day. These are the bona fide instructions. Because the Western countries constantly chanting is not possible, one should not artificially imitate Haridas Thakur, but should follow this method. How practical is Srila Prabhupada? Krishna will accept a devotee who strictly follows the regulative principles. Please hear with utmost attention. Very, very important. I have now highlighted it. Krishna will accept a devotee who strictly follows the regulative principles and the method prescribed in the various books and literatures published by the authorities. The acharyas give the suitable method for crossing the ocean of nations by accepting the boat of the Lord's lotus feet. And if this method is strictly followed, the follower will ultimately reach the destination by the grace of the Lord. This method Acharya Sampradaya. It is therefore said Sampradaya Vihinaste Sampradaya Vihinasya Mantraste Nishpala Matam Padam Puram. The Acharya Sampradaya is strictly bona fide. Therefore, one must accept the Acharya Sampradaya, otherwise one endeavor will be futile. Srila Narottam Das Thakur therefore sings, Tandera Charan Sevi Bhakta Saneva Janame Janame Hoye Avidas. One must worship the lotus feet of the Acharya and live within the society of devotees. Worship the lotus feet of the Acharya and live within the society of devotees. Then one's endeavor to cross over nations will surely be successful. Very famous, very famous verse. Ye anne arvindaksh vimuktamaninas tvaya satya bhave davishuddha buddhaya aruhu kruchena param padam tata patanti ato andrita yushmat angre. This is again from Brahmaji's prayers. Someone may say that aside from your devotees, who always seek shelter of the lotus feet, of the Lord's lotus feet, there are those who are non-devotees, but who have accepted different processes for attaining salvation. What happens to them? In answer to this question, Lord Brahma and the other demigods said, O lotus-eyed, although the non-devotees who accept severe austerities and penance to achieve the highest position may think themselves liberated, their intelligence is impure. They fall down from their position of imagined superiority because they have no regards to your lotus feet. Aside from devotees, there are many other non-devotees known as karmis, jnanis, and yogis, philanthropists, altruists, politicians, and voidists. There are many varieties of non-devotees who have their respective ways of liberation. But simply because they do not know the shelter of the Lord's lotus feet, although they falsely think that they have become liberated and elevated to the highest position, they fall down, as clearly stated by the Lord Himself in the Bhagavad Gita 9.3. Ashraddhana Purusha Dharma Sasya Parantapa Aprapya Mam Nivartante Mrityu Sansar Vatmani. Those who are not faithful to this devotional service cannot attain me. What are they? Ashraddha. O conqueror of enemies, therefore they attain to the path of birth and death in this material world. It doesn't matter whether one is a karmi, jnani, yogi, philanthropist, politician, or whatever. If one has no love for the lotus feet of the Lord, one falls down. This is the verdict given by Lord Brahma in this verse. There are persons who advocate accepting any process and who say that whatever process one accepts will lead to the same goal. But that is refuted in this work, where such persons are referred to as Vimukt Manina, signifying that although they think that they have attained the highest perfection, in fact, they have not. In the present day, big politicians all over the world think that by scheming, they can occupy the highest political post, that of president or prime minister. But we actually see that even in this life of such big prime ministers, presidents, and other politicians, because of being non-devotees, they fall down. Patanti Adha. To become president or prime minister is not easy. One must work very hard to achieve the post. And even though one may reach this goal at any moment, one may be kicked down by the material nature. In human society, there have been many instances in which great exalted politicians have fallen from government and become lowest in historical oblivion. Because of this is Avishud Buddhe. Their intelligence is impure. The Shastra says, Na te vidu swadgatim Vishnu. One achieves the perfection of life by becoming a devotee of Vishnu. But people do not know this. Na te vidu. Vidu means to know. And na te vidu means that the people do not know. What they do not know? That the perfection of life one can attain is by becoming a devotee of Lord Vishnu. But people do not know this, therefore, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 12.5, Klesho adhikarastesham avyakta sakta chetasam. Persons who do not ultimately accept the Supreme Personality of Godhead and take to devotional service, but who instead are attracted to impersonalist and God must undergo great labor to achieve their goals. Shreyasatim bhaktim udasyate vibhu klishyanti ye kevala bodha labdhe. To achieve understanding, such persons work very hard and undergo serious austerities. But their hard labor and austerities themselves are only their achievements, but they do not actually achieve the real goal of life. Dhruv Maharaj at first wanted to achieve the greatest material kingdom and great material possessions. But then his father, but when, but when he was actually favored by the Lord, who appeared before him and gave him the benediction he desired, Dhruv Maharaj refused it, saying, Swamin Pitartho Asmi Varam Nayache. Now I am fully satisfied. I do not want any material benediction. Hari Bhakti Sudodaya. This is the perfection of life. Yam labdva cha param labham manyate nadhikam tatha. If one achieves the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, one is fully satisfied and does not need to ask for any material benediction. At night, one can see a lotus for lotus blossoms only during the daytime. Therefore, the word Arvindaksh is significant. For one who is not captivated by the lotus eye or transcendental power of the Supreme Lord is in darkness. Exactly like one who cannot see the lotus. One who has not come to this point of seeing the lotus eyes and the transcendental form of Shyam Sundar is a failure. Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santa Sadeva Hideshu Vilokayanti Brahma Samhita 5.3. Those who are attracted to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in love always see the Lord's lotus eyes, the lotus feet, whereas others cannot see the Lord's beauty and are therefore classified as another yasmat angraha, or neglectful of the Lord's personal form. Those who neglect the Lord's form are surely failures in every path of life. But if one develops even a little love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one is liberated without difficulty. Swalpamapi yasya dharmasya prahete mahato bhaya. Therefore, the Supreme Personality of Godhead recommends in Bhagavad Gita 9:34, Man mana bhava mad bhakto adhyadi mam namaskuru. Simply think of me, become my devotee, worship me, and offer some slight homage to me. Simply by this process, one is guaranteed to return home back to Godhead and thus attain the highest perfection. The Lord further affirms in Bhagavad Gita 8:24-25. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma Na Shochati Na Kamshati Samma Sarveshu Bhuteshu Madhvaktim Labate Para Bhaktya Mam Abhijanati Yavan Yaschashmi Tatvata Tato Vyatva Vishate Tadanantaram. For one who is thus transcendently situated is at once realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments or desires to have anything. He is equally disposed towards every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service and happiness. One can understand me as I am, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only by devotional service. And when one is in full consciousness of me, by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. Can enter into the kingdom of God. तथा न ते मध्वा तव क्वचि हृष्यन्ति मार्गात् त्वयि बुद्ध सौहृद त्वयि अभिगुप्त विचरन्ति निर्भया विनायक विनायकालिनी कपे मूर्धा सुप्रभो. O Mother, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord of Goddess of Fortune, if devotees completely in love with you sometimes fall from the path of devotion, they do not fall like non-devotees, for you still protect them. Thus they fearlessly traverse the heads. Thus they fearlessly traverse the head of their opponents and continue to progress in devotional service. Prabhupada says this, but for the devotees generally do not fall down. But in circumstantially they do. And the Lord, because of their strong attachment to Him, gives them protection in all circumstances. Thus, even if a devotees fall down, they are still strong enough to traverse the head of their enemies. We have actually seen that in our Krishna consciousness has been many opponents, such as the deprogrammers, who instituted a strong legal case against the devotees. We thought that this case would take a long time to settle, but because the devotees were protected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we unexpectedly won the case in one day. Thus, the case was expected. Thus, a case that was expected to continue for years was settled in a day because of the protection of the Supreme Personality of Godhead who was promised in the Bhagavad Gita. Anteya pratijanahi name bhaktya pranashyati. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotees never perishes. In history, there are many instances of devotees like Chitraketu, Pradyumna, and Maharaj Bharata. They all circumstantially fell down. but still were protected. Maharaj Bharat, for example, became, or because of his attachment to a deer, thought of the deer, right, and therefore in his next life he became a deer. Yam yam vapi smaranam bhavam pajyante antakalevaram Bhagavad Gita 8.6. Because of protection by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, however, the deer remembered his relationship with the Lord and in the next birth in a good Brahmanical, took birth in a good Brahmanical family and performed devotional service. Inam Srimadam Gehe Yoga Bhashta Vijayata. Similarly, Chitraketu fell down, became a demon, Vritrasu, but he too was protected. Thus, even if one falls down from the path of bhakti, but even if one falls down from the path of bhakti yoga, one is ultimately saved. If a devotee is strongly situated in devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead has promised to protect him. Keep Kaunteya Pratijanahi Name Bhaktya Pranashati. But even a devotee is circumstantially fall down, he is protected. It's very, very important. We should never consider any devotee who has fallen. Here Prabhupada is hammering that a devotee, if he is a sincere devotee, serious devotee, any accidental or circumstantial, some deviation or default does not make him perish. Why? Because the Lord protects. The word Madhav is significant, but even if the devotee circumstantially fall down, he is protected by Madhav. The word Madhav is significant. Ma is Mother Lakshmi, the mother. All opulence is always the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And if a devotee is in touch with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all the opulences of the Lord are ready to help. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partha Dhanurdhara, Tatra Shri Vijaya Bhute, Vani Ter Matir Mama. Whenever there is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, wherever there is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, along with this devotee Arjuna Partha, there is victory, opulence, extraordinary power, and naturally, the opulence of the devotee are not as a result of karma kanda vichar. A devotee is always protected by all of Supreme Lord's opulence, in which no one can deprive him. Tesham Nityabhivtanam. Tesham Nityabhivtanam Yogashemam Vahamyaham. Thus, a devotee cannot be defeated by any opponents. A devotee, therefore, should not deviate knowingly from the path of devotion. The adherent devotee is assured all protection of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Om Tat Sat. I'll stop here. It is time. If there is any question or any discussion, you can initiate or ask. Very, very deep, profound, meaningful prayers by the demigods, headed by Lord Brahma. Just imagine these are the prayers, chosen prayers that the demigods are offering as a reception or a welcome to the appearance of the Lord. Any discussion? Please read them again. Please try to dive in the purport. Try to relate and connect to what the demigods are. I think these are all acharyas, not ordinary demigods. Brahma ji is the acharya of Brahma Madhav Gaudiya Sampradaya, Rudra Sampradaya. Shivji is the acharya. Maharaj, Lakshmi Devi. They are all praying. I'll stop here and we'll try and continue from tomorrow. Hare Krishna, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.